Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into a source that's maybe a little different for us, but really powerful. Excerpts from Rupi Kaur's poetry collection, The Sun and Her Flowers.
Hmm.
And think of this as your shortcut, you know. If you've been meaning to read this book, maybe heard about its impact, but just haven't found the hours to sit down with it, well, this is for you. We're going to navigate its emotional landscape together.
That's a great way to put it. Because it's not just like random poems. It's really structured as a journey.
Hmm.
The whole book mirrors the life cycle of a flower through 5 distinct chapters.
Right, the 5 chapters.
Yeah, wilting, falling, rooting, rising, and blooming. And it explores some, really big themes: grief, self-abandonment, honoring your roots, love, empowerment.
And here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. Our mission today is basically to follow that path, pull out the most important nuggets, the surprising insights, maybe those lines that just stick with you.
Giving you the essence.
Exactly, giving you the essence of the book without needing to read every single word. It's like we're kind of flipping through the pages for you, pointing out the key stuff.
Yeah, and it's a powerful metaphor, that flower cycle. It guides you through some intensely personal, often quite difficult experiences. So should we dive straight into that first stage, wilting?
Let's do it. Wilting. This is the raw bit, isn't it? The immediate aftermath.
Definitely.
It captures that initial pain of heartbreak and loss with such vivid, almost physical language. I mean, the source material opens with that gut-wrenching feeling of a heart literally cracking inside the body, right there on the last day of love.
Yeah, it's so immediate. And what follows is that kind of desperate, sometimes irrational longing to undo it all.
Hmm.
You see that desire to bring the person back through these symbolic, almost like magical acts.
Hmm.
It's described as casting spells to bring you back, even eating the wilting flowers they gave you. It's a really visceral picture of grief's pull.
And it really goes beyond just sadness, though, doesn't it? The source material, it doesn't shy away from describing really intense physical and emotional pain, needing to spend days in bed debilitated by loss.
Right.
Even that really startling image of pinching one's belly till it bleeds, it just hammers home that heartbreak isn't just in your head, it takes over your whole body.
Absolutely makes the internal external. And within that pain, there's often this profound internal conflict happening.
Yeah.
That realization sometimes is a whisper, sometimes it's a shout, that while, you left and I wanted you still, there's this dawning thought, yet I deserve someone who is willing to stay. That tension is just so key.
Oh, completely. And the emotions captured are so messy, so contradictory. Like a mind's just in free fall. The source absolutely nails that swirl. I'm okay. No, I'm angry. Yes, I hate you. Maybe I can't move on. I will. I forgive you. It's just the chaos, right? Trying to process a breakup, feeling everything all at once, or maybe nothing at all.
And the nature imagery, which is so central to the book's whole structure, it starts appearing really early on to mirror this internal state.
Yeah.
Rain is described as trying to imitate the lost person's hands, which then leads to ripping the sky apart for allowing it. It's like personifying nature in the middle of your own despair.
Wow.
And then there's just the simple, painful difficulty of adjusting to their absence, those first mornings without you. Even tiny details like hummingbirds noticing the X's changes. It just highlights how the world keeps spinning, totally oblivious to your internal devastation.
Yeah, that disconnect. There was one line that really landed for me. It compared love to something absolutely essential, like breathing, that suddenly just disappears. Loving you is breathing, but that breath disappearing before it filled my lungs, it makes the loss feel like, well, like suffocation.
And what's really insightful in this chapter, I think, and maybe a pivotal point for the whole book's message, is the shift. It shifts from focusing only on the person who's gone
Right.
to a deeper insight about what love is. The therapist asks what love looks like, and that leads to this really striking realization.
Mm-hmm.
I thought love looked so much like you. That's when it hit me.
Mm.
How naive I had been to place an idea so beautiful on the image of a person.
Huh. So it wasn't the person themselves who was love, but more like a container, a projection of it.
Precisely. It wasn't the person, but the idea of love that was placed onto that person. And the chapter kind of wraps up with this foundational idea that love starts here, meaning inwardly.
Inside yourself.
Yeah, and everything else people often chase is just desire and projection. It totally resets your understanding, pointing towards the self as the necessary starting point for any kind of genuine love.
That's a huge pivot, and it takes us straight into the next stage, doesn't it? Falling.
Yeah.
And this is where the book dives into, well, even deeper pain. It explores addiction to unhealthy relationship patterns, the impact of trauma, and this profound self-abandonment.
Yeah, this section really confronts some difficult truths, like staying in harmful situations. The lines are just stark. Something was better than nothing. I could take the abuse, I could not take the absence. It captures that desperate fear of being alone, even if the connection you cling to is damaging. The author describes being skinned to the bone by someone.
Wow.
And that chilling observation of a partner who seems to break women in like shoes.
Ugh. There's such a powerful sense of being completely emptied out by the partner, that line, "Oh, how he emptied me." And it's important to note, like you said, the pain isn't just about romantic relationships. There's a particularly poignant bit about the end of a deep friendship. It's called the underrated heartache.
Yes.
And it feels like a slow cancer or a tsunami. It really acknowledges that these non-romantic losses can be just as devastating, sometimes more so.
Absolutely. It highlights how vulnerability isn't just tied to romantic love. And the source also touches on that internal mechanism that can keep us down, right? The impact of focusing relentlessly on the negative.
Oh, yeah.
How, like 1,000 kind words make no difference, yet I hear one insult and all confidence shatters.
Yeah.
It's such a clear mirror of self-sabotage.
It really is. Now, a particularly difficult, but I think crucial part of the source material here is the detailed and, frankly, harrowing account of sexual assault. It's described with this really jarring metaphor of a home invasion. It starts so innocuously as a typical Thursday, which just makes the sudden violent violation even more shocking. The lines are brutal. You kicked the front door in, you took everything, and then someone took me. It was you.
It's incredibly raw, and the aftermath is described using that same powerful metaphor, the damaged house representing the body. This home is empty now. From head to foot, I am layered in dust.
Just empty.
Yeah. And this kind of trauma leaves deep, deep lasting wounds. It makes intimacy incredibly difficult later on. The source expresses that pain of seeing the abuser in others. Every lover who touches me feels like you.
God, that's heavy. And the long, painful journey towards understanding, towards accepting that the trauma was absolutely not your fault, the source captures that struggle. I can't blame myself. It's too heavy to carry your guilt. It's articulating that awful burden of misplaced blame so many survivors carry.
And the source also includes a critique around consent, raising this really fundamental question about how you can fully verbalize yes as an adult if you were never taught you even had the right to say no as a child.
That connects so powerfully, doesn't it, to the development of body shame, especially linked to like physical maturation and unwanted male attention.
Exactly. That phrase, hated that word, boobs, didn't belong to me, it belonged to them.
Yeah.
It's such a stark expression of losing ownership of your own body.
Yeah. Which then leads into this broader critique within the source material about societal judgments around women's bodies and sexuality, calling things like slut-shaming and virgin-praising aspects of rape culture.
Framing those judgments as contributing to an environment where bodily autonomy is constantly undermined. And finally, this chapter explores that deep, debilitating internal battle of self-hate. I lost the self-love and became my greatest enemy, explicitly calling self-degradation a form of abuse.
That's powerful framing.
It is, and there's that incredibly visceral image of feeling a hole the size of your manhood in my chest, symbolizing the emptiness and violation left by harmful relationships and trauma.
Wow.
It's a heavy chapter. It shows the true depth of that falling.
Phew. Okay. It definitely takes you to a dark place. But thankfully, the journey doesn't end there.
No.
From that depth, the narrative shifts pretty dramatically into rooting. And this chapter is all about finding strength, finding identity by connecting with heritage, family, the past.
It's the search for stability after the fall, isn't it? The source describes finding resilience, being hardened under the last loss, but then it explores the struggle to soften again, to let vulnerability back in.
And there's that moment of finding maybe common ground in a shared human experience, acknowledging that loneliness, even though it feels so personal, is felt universally. The irony of loneliness is we all feel it at the same time.
A small comfort, maybe.
Yeah, a small comfort, but still a connection.
A really significant and deeply moving focus here is on the sacrifices and struggles of immigrant parents.
Oh, yes.
The source reflects on their silence. My parents never sat us down.
Hmm.
Perhaps being an immigrant does that to you, and it expresses this profound longing to understand their lives before they were parents. I wish I'd pried their silence apart, recognizing they had an entire life before me, which I am a stranger to.
That sense of a hidden history. The source vividly describes the journey, doesn't it? Immigrant parents arriving in a new country, how the challenges of the new world had drained him, referring to the father,
Yeah.
and the immense, almost impossible difficulty of expressing their sacrifices and love. The author just states it simply, there are no words in the English language that can articulate that kind of beauty.
It's profound. And there's this deep, specific appreciation for the mother's broken English, reframing it not as a limitation, but as proof of her sacrifice. Don't be ashamed. She split through countries to be here so you wouldn't have to. It connects language directly to love and survival.
That's beautiful. The chapter also highlights a father's kind of progressive wisdom in prioritizing education and independence for his daughters over more traditional marriage expectations. And there's a lovely emphasis on finding strength and beauty in your own physical features, particularly, it says, for a beautiful brown girl. Seeing things like hyperpigmentation or a unibrow not as flaws to hide, but as blessings. It's such a powerful act of self-acceptance rooted in heritage.
Yeah, this section really reinforces the idea that inherent worth is not something we transfer or something that can be taken away. It explicitly acknowledges the debt to generations of women whose struggles paved the way. I stand on the sacrifices of a million women before me. It's all about drawing this deep ancestral strength from your community and history.
And that foundation, those roots, provide the energy needed to move into the next chapter. Rising.
Yes.
This is the pivotal turning point, right?
Yeah.
The active process of healing, finding inner strength, and reclaiming yourself after all the wilting and falling.
This is where resilience truly becomes an action. The metaphor is so powerful.
Yeah.
When they buried me alive, I dug my way out. It's not about waiting to be saved. It's about actively choosing survival, choosing self-rescue.
Yeah. And self-love is shown not just as a passive feeling, but as this intentional, sometimes really difficult process, like cleaning out all the negative thoughts and words you've absorbed over time.
Exactly. The author describes the work. First, I went for my words. I would scrub the self-hate off the bone till it exposed love. It's like active deconstruction and then reconstruction.
Scrubbing the bone.
It's a defiant recognition of your own resilience after enduring so much pain. I've survived far too much to go quietly. And there's this wonderful desire described to honeymoon myself.
I love that phrase.
Isn't it great? Prioritizing the relationship with yourself. Because, as the author asks, if I am the longest relationship of my life, isn't it time to nurture intimacy and love with the person I lie in bed with each night? It's such a simple but profound reframing of self-care.
It really is. And the incredible strength of the human heart gets celebrated, that it shatters over and over and still lives.
Yeah.
It's just a testament to our capacity for endurance, isn't it?
Definitely. And a crucial, really realistic insight here. Healing isn't some finish line you cross. It's ongoing, daily effort. Healing is everyday work.
Yeah.
The perspective shifts dramatically, too, from what's lacking to what's present. Stop looking up at everything you don't have and look around at everything you do. It's a practice of gratitude, of present moment awareness.
And there's this powerful celebration of your own unique inner light and worth. You can imitate a light like mine, but you cannot become it. And a call to accept your body not just for how it looks, but as a miracle in itself, realizing you were already living in one.
Yeah, accepting yourself fully. This chapter also includes a strong, direct call for women's voices to be heard, right? To be loud, to take up space. Now's our time to be mouthy. Get as loud as we need to be heard. And it emphasizes how vital representation is, illustrating it with that image. Otherwise, the butterfly surrounded by a group of moths, unable to see itself, will keep trying to become the moth. You need to see examples of what you can become to know it's even possible.
That's so true. It's also about collective progress, isn't it? The goal being to equip the next generation of women to actually outdo us, to start from a place of greater strength and self-knowledge.
Yes, exactly. And recognizing that this kind of deep change takes time, urging the reader to pace yourself.
Good advice.
An essential idea presented is that self-love acts like a magnet for healthy external relationships. The source says, you are a mirror. If you continue to starve yourself of love, you'll only meet people who starve you. If you soak yourself in love, the universe will hand you those who will love you too. It reframes attracting healthy love as almost a consequence of the internal work you do.
So the work comes first.
Right. The ultimate lesson gets reinforced. A woman already possesses everything she truly needs within herself, despite all the societal messages trying to convince her otherwise.
And that powerful metaphor for healing itself, getting right down to the root of the wound and kissing it all the way up, it's about acknowledging the pain, not just burying it.
Yeah, exactly. It's deep, active, self-compassionate work.
Which brings us finally to blooming.
Blooming, yes.
The stage of reopening to love, romantic and otherwise forming healthy relationships and looking towards a hopeful future.
After all that intense internal work, this chapter explores the possibility of returning to love, but from this healed, rooted place. There's that moment of almost amused reflection when you start a new, healthier relationship and you kind of laugh at the indecisiveness of love compared to the desperate certainty of past unhealthy attachments.
Yeah, like looking back with new eyes. It's about navigating the unfamiliarity too, receiving kindness after maybe only knowing difficult, even terrifying love. The question is posed, how do I welcome in kindness when I have only practiced spreading my legs for the terrifying?
Mhm.
It highlights how healing involves learning how to receive goodness. And the desire is clear for a partner who's an equal, who sees your worth.
And the source defines a healthy relationship so beautifully. One where the partner does not stand in your way. They make space for you to step forward. It's about mutual growth and support, not constraint or depletion. A healthy partner is someone who energizes you, not drains you.
And there's still an awareness of the work needed, right? Trying not to project past trauma onto the new healthy partner. I am trying to not make you pay for their mistakes. You are not them. It shows that healing isn't like flipping a magic switch. It requires conscious effort and new dynamics.
Absolutely. But alongside that awareness, there are descriptions of positive healing intimacy.
Yeah.
Touch feels medicinal, and sex is described with this beautiful sense of oneness. There's no place I end, and you begin when your body is in my body. We are one person. It's depicted as magic, as connection.
And there's that significant moment of freedom described encountering a past difficult partner and realizing the emotional charge is just gone.
Yes.
My body did not react. My body must have cleansed itself of you long ago. It's like a physical manifestation of moving on.
And critically, maybe the culmination of the entire journey, the source emphasizes finding home within yourself as the most intimate root system.
That's the core.
When I stopped searching for home within others and lifted the foundations of home within myself, I found there were no roots more intricate than those between a mind and body that have decided to be whole. That inner integration is the ultimate home.
Wow. The chapter also touches on the importance of nurturing the relationships that sustained you, honoring those who nourished you. What good am I if I do not fill the plates of the ones who fed me?
Paying it back, yeah. And the possibility of this deep, almost cosmic connection with a new person. God must have needed you and I from the same dough.
Beautiful.
Partnership is depicted with these lovely metaphors, 2 legs on one body, 2 suns, finding someone who feels like home, but in a healthy way, now that you are home within yourself. There's even a kind of checklist presented for a partner, focusing on shared core values and someone who truly brings out your best self.
And the title metaphor comes full circle, doesn't it? With the new partner being like the sun to the flowers, helping them bloom, the sun and her flowers. That is what the sun does to those flowers. It's what you do to me.
And communication is highlighted, even the nonverbal kind, like the most important conversations we'll have are with our fingers.
Intimate.
Yeah. And commitment is expressed as something profound, extending beyond life itself, a promise to find each other in every lifetime. The chapter, and really the book, concludes with a summary of key lessons learned over a significant year, emphasizing temporariness, love as giving, the value of vulnerability, balance, focusing on warm energy, and kindness to yourself and others.
It really ends with this strong sense of arrival, doesn't it? A sense of peace, confirming the sun and her flowers are here, suggesting the completion of the journey, that full cycle from wilting right through to blooming.
It truly encapsulates the idea that after enduring profound pain and doing the hard work of healing and rooting, it is absolutely possible to rise and bloom again, finding love and connection from a place of wholeness.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We've traveled through the emotional arc presented in The Sun and Her Flowers, from the absolute depths of heartbreak and trauma, through the strength found in heritage and identity, into the active process of healing and empowerment, and finally to the possibility of blooming and finding new, healthy connections. It really shows how incredibly deep personal experiences, including the most difficult ones, can actually be sources of profound growth. They can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and maybe our place in the world.
Such a powerful message of resilience, that pain is part of the cycle. It's not the end of the story.
Definitely not. Okay, so here's a final provocative thought for you to maybe mull over. Given the raw honesty shared in this book about the journey from trauma to healing, what might it mean to truly honor your roots in your own life?
Hmm.
And thinking beyond just the heritage you were born into, thinking about the experiences, both the painful ones and the joyful ones, that have shaped who you are today. How do those deep roots allow you to rise and eventually bloom?